Hello, my name's Rachel and this is my community windshield survey. I did my survey on the city of Yorba, which is also known as the land of gracious living, how they name themselves. And the city is located in Orange County. It has a population of 69,121 people, which I found in the Yorba website, the city facts. And it is 20 to 30 miles from beaches in the Empire, Los Angeles, so it's an optimal place to live for people who commute. I know when I commute from Yorba to Riverside, the traffic isn't too bad because we're going the other way, opposite of traffic. So it's a good place for commuters. Housing and zoning, I found as I was driving through Yorba, there's two types of homes built in the late 80s, early 90s, as you see on the right side, and then newer homes built on the left side that range in the higher price range. And a majority of these homes are detached. They have front yards, backyards. They're typical suburban houses. And the newer homes are also built with concrete and reinforced steel, making it really safe for earthquakes, which is good to think about when you're buying a home, especially in California. One thing I did notice, as you saw on the left-hand side in the middle, you see a nice new home right next to all that brush, which we learned, unfortunately, there's lots of fires in California, so that could be something that poses a danger possibility. And the website of Yorba said that the median home price was $816,500. So it's quite expensive for people who are moving in here, and it makes it really unsustainable for people who are lower income or who only have one source of income in the home to live here. There's lots of open space in Yorba. I think that's one of the greatest things about it is there's so many trails and parks. There's almost 3,000 acres of parks and trails and 6,000 acres of residential property. So the city is mostly made up of parks and homes, which is really nice. And the roads are well kept. It makes it safe for people who are commuting and traveling. And when I drove through for the windshield survey, I saw a lot of elderly people and mothers utilizing the trails during the day. For boundaries, there's a lot of neighborhoods built in little clusters with little cul-de-sacs and little communities, and they're usually named. So as you can see, there's Kerrigan Ranch, Villaggio. You can just tell where the communities start and end. And then there's also a lot of businesses, engineering businesses within these communities, as you can see in the picture. And there's also a train with the railroad. And I've heard that sometimes it blows the horn at night and can disturb some residents. And there's also dangers that come with having a train go through the city. In regards to the common areas, the Yorba Main Street is a really popular place to hang out. It's very historic. It's one of the first streets built in Yorba 100 years ago, and it has a lot of cute mom and pop shops and thrift stores that people like to hang out in. And then there's also the Yorba Town Center that's newly built just a couple months ago, and there's a new movie theater, lots of restaurants, and they even, as I was driving through, had a Pilates class going on, so it's a very popular place to go. With transportation, I drove all through the city looking for a bus stop, and I couldn't find one. I found one in the neighboring cities nearby in Anaheim and Placentia, but that means you're almost required to own a car if you live in Yorba, which could be difficult for some people. But there are also trails for walking. I saw a fact saying there's over 100 miles of trail throughout the city, so I thought that was really interesting. A lot of people walking dogs and horses. Along with transportation comes the dangers of it. So owning a car, obviously car accidents are very common. So I actually drove right past one that wasn't too serious, thankfully. Service centers, we have 13 public and 7 private schools, and I think the PYL-USD district is what this schools fall under and has a very good reputation. There are also 3 fire stations and 1 large police station serving the community. There is a His House 2 miles away in Placentia and a WIC office 5 miles. So nothing in the city itself and then there are no homeless around, which is probably because there's no shelters in the city, so that's very unfortunate. I also found it interesting that I found a ballot drop box by the city hall for people to vote this year. So stores, there's Sprouts, Bristol Farms, Whole Foods, Costco, Vons, but there aren't many just basic Albertsons and Stater Brothers nearby, and I think that's something that Yorba Linda should start doing, because these are catering more to higher income families, and we need to make groceries accessible for all people, because I don't know people who can shop at Bristol Farms every week. With street people, you see a lot of bikers, a lot of people walking their dogs, as I said, elderly walking during the day, and there's also parks that host Little League, baseball, soccer, lots of events for children in the evening after school, and lots of open space and places to exercise, which is good because we know that exercise can lower the risk of heart disease, so it's good on a health standpoint. But signs of decay, I saw a lot of for sale home signs, and I think this is because that a lot of these people built or moved into their homes in the 90s when things weren't too expensive. The homes in Yorba Linda are definitely not the price they are now, and so I think people are finding it's too expensive to live here now, and they're moving. And there's also new homes being built in the millions dollar range, and it's just too expensive for people. So I think Yorba Linda is going to see a lot of people moving out. With race and ethnicity, it's not very diverse, but people aren't segregated. So there's about 60% white, 18 Asian, Hispanic, 16%, and Black, 1.2%. So I found a lot of diverse churches, which I thought was interesting, catering to people speaking different languages, but most stores and restaurants cater to English-speaking residents. So lots of churches. Yorba Linda is a very conservative city. There's a lot of churches. As I said, there was a Danish-speaking church. I saw a Korean church. The far left corner, there's Agape, which is a Romanian-speaking church. So a lot, catering to a lot of different religions. Just a lot of places for people to go and worship. In regards to health, there is one hospital in Yorba Linda, Placentia Linda Hospital, and a couple of urgent cares and doctor's offices. The hospital has an emergency room, and they're also testing for COVID-19 currently. As of 9/2/2020, there have been 3,712 reported cases in Yorba Linda, and I think the city is doing a good job of testing, because Yorba Linda or Placentia Linda Hospital was one of the first places that was testing when COVID came out. And politics. These pictures are probably redundant, but I just wanted to show how obvious it is where Yorba Linda stands on politics. Lots of Trump signs, very conservative city. There was Trump stand selling merchandise, so it's very obvious where people stand, and if you don't agree, you're definitely stand out. And with media, there's the Yorba Linda Buzz on Facebook that's very popular for moms and just people in the community to ask questions. There's also the OC Register, which is a magazine. People I know don't use magazines that much anymore, but the OC Register is also available for people on their website who don't have access to magazines. They also post job offers there, which is really nice for people looking for jobs. And those are my references. So overall, I think Yorba Linda is a good city, but definitely caters to a different population, and I think they need to fix that if they want to see change and want to better the community and make it a safer and more reliable place to live.